Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a Dazzled or Disappointed for you, a review on the new Dominique Cosmetics Celestial Storm palette. I have purchased every single one of her eyeshadow palettes so far, and this one really intrigued me just because I felt it was a little bit different than what I've been seeing lately. So I've got a whole lot for you in this video. Don't know why I said it like that, for you, for you in this video, to include a description, swatches, a demo, like truly my thoughts in the experience I've had so far with this palette. So a whole lot for you in the event you have been kind of on the fence about this palette, or maybe you're just waiting for it to hit Sephora. So if you're interested in seeing if this palette is right for you, then just stay tuned. Alright, so let's go ahead and first go to the Dominique Cosmetics website. It has not yet hit Sephora, and I have been trying to really find out when that date is going to be, and I have not found out anything as of yet. If I kind of stalk the Instagram comments on the Dominique posts, people have asked when it's coming to Sephora, and all they're saying is soon. So I'm not sure, hopefully soon. But it says it's a 12 shade palette that ranges from vibrant pops of color to everyday tones, includes a variety of mattes, foils, duochromes, and toppers. It does retail for $44, and just like her others, it is made in the USA. I think the last ones they've come from Texas. They sure have. And so Texas is my home state. Always has been, so I love to see that. But okay, so that takes care of that. Let's go ahead and go into the packaging. So it does come in a sleeve, just like all her others have. It does, because of the Celestial Storm vibe of that kind of the blues, purples kind of thing. It does have that, I don't know if ombre effect, or it's not an ombre effect, I don't think, but it's got like the purple on the ends. It looks very galactic. That's the best thing I could say about it. On the back, you do have a little diagram of the palette as well as the ingredients and then where it's made, all of that good stuff. For reference, you do get 12 eyeshadows at 1.20 grams, and it is cruelty-free, and it looks like the shelf life is 12 months. Let's go ahead and go into the palette itself. Here's what it looks like. Not my favorite packaging of what she's come out with, but definitely not my least favorite, I guess I should say. Rustic Glam was my favorite as far as just the bohemian feel. I really liked that. And so here is what this looks like. And then again, on the back, you really don't have much. Open it up, you have a mirror just like all her others. And then you do have 12 eyeshadows right here. Let me bring you in so that you can see them up close and personal and see what they look like. So you do get 12 shades, 6 of them being matte and 6 of them being like foil, metallic, that kind of thing. I will tell you up front, I find most of these to be kind of topper type shades. We will go into that here in just a bit. So let's go ahead and start off with swatches, and then we can go into the demo and final thoughts from there. First four, we've got Electric Amethyst, Stargaze, Eternal Light, and Lucid Dream. Next, we've got Storm Dust, Lunar Eclipse, Astrid, Lust, and Mystic Ice. The last four are Zero Gravity, Black Matter, Solstice, and Fireball. Alright guys, that's the end of the swatches. Now let's go ahead and go into the demo so that you can see what I did on my eyes today. Hopefully it's easy enough for you to follow along, and if you already own this, maybe it'll inspire you to create a look of your own with the same sort of shades. But let's just go ahead and go into that, and I'll be right back with final thoughts. Alright y'all, starting off with Lucid Dream, we are going to use this shade for our crease, just using a blending brush. I do pack this on a couple of times just because I wanted to intensify the color, make it a little brighter. Next up, going into the shade Black Matter. This is a black that is highly metallic and sparkly, but very, very easy to work with. Goes on very opaque and easy to build up. Now I'm going to go in with the shade Astrid Lust. This is a beautiful orchid matte shade, and I'm placing this on the outer and inner portion of the lid. As far as the outer portion, I'm placing it right by Black Matter. And just going to go in with another layer just to deepen it up a little bit. I want it to be very rich and intense. Next, I'm going to go in with the shade Electric Amethyst. This is one of the shades that I was most looking forward to in this palette when I first saw that it was going to release. I do use my finger because it's easier to build up with the finger. It's not as easy as other shades I've used, but definitely easier than a brush. Next, I'm going to go in with the shade Mystic Ice. And with a pencil brush, just going to line my lower lash line, just taking it a little lower than usual. Just this is going to really smoke out the eye look. And then I'm going in with the shade Eternal Light and placing this on my inner corner. It's also what I have as my highlight on my cheeks. And this is the finished look, you guys. Easy peasy and using quite a few shades. I hope you enjoyed. It's time for final thoughts, you guys, so that you know what my experience with this palette has been. Hopefully that demo kind of gave you an idea of how they perform, but, you know, definitely have a lot more thoughts, a lot more to offer. And hopefully that'll help you know whether you want to wait for it to come to Sephora or whether you want to just wait for the next sale, whether you want to get it now off the Dominique Cosmetics website. So let's start off with the packaging. First off, I like these longer palettes. She started this format with the Berry palette. I think it was Berries and Cream. I do like that it's a little bit bigger. I mean, I think a lot of people would say, well, it's not travel friendly, but I mean, I don't always look for that in a palette. So I do like that. I like the sleeve. It's very, didn't mean to blind you there. It's definitely different and unique. I like that it's got that kind of galaxy celestial vibe to it. So let me start off by saying that the primary reason I wanted this palette was because it looked different. I've told y'all so many times at this point that I'm trying to be a little bit more selective and particular with what I buy just because it has become so much of the same, and it's a lot of money, you know, especially if you're on a budget and you want to find or get all those new releases, but it's same old, then it's really not worth it, you know? And so I'm looking for those things that are a little bit different, that might have a few things different from what I have in my collection, not a whole bunch of dupes, not a bunch of the same palettes, that kind of thing. So first off, the color scheme really spoke to me. I don't know, something about it. It looked very cohesive, the brights, I love the teal, the purple, all of that. And then there were a couple of really sparkly shades, these two right here, that caught my attention, I mean, right off the bat. So let me, as usual, start you off with the matte shades. I have no issue with the matte shades. They build very nicely. I find them to be very pigmented, in fact, to the point where, for example, the pink that you saw me put in my crease today, I go in with a light hand because too much and it just is too much. I like to go in with a little bit, build it up, and it's so pretty. I will say that these are very, very firmly packed in their pans because you can tell the DC logo in them. I have swatched them. When this first came in, I was swatching, I was playing. I swatched it today for you to give you the swatches. I've used them on my eyes, and the DC logo is still very, very intact, if you can tell. I hope you're going to be able to see that, but very, very intact. Usually when they're super creamy mattes, you kind of like end up blurring whatever, you know, emblem or whatever is on the pan of product. So the DC is still very much intact. They're very pressed in their pans, which is fine with me. They don't, you know, it doesn't hinder the performance or anything. Zero Gravity is the only matte that I have found to be a little bit less opaque, that I have to build up a little bit more. It's not sheer, and I'm trying to figure out how to tell you. It's not sheer, but it's also not really opaque. So again, just building up and blending, that kind of thing. It's not as rich. Now let's move on to these standout shades, which are, again, one of the main reasons I wanted this palette. So first off, I'm going to start you with Black Matter. I'm not one for a lot of black shades. I really don't use a lot of black unless I'm going to slightly smoke something out, but much less to use all over my lid. Well, this black is something, it's nothing like I have in my collection. It's really beautiful. It has a ton of sparkle, so it just looks like a very metallic black. And it's got like these red specks in it. I can't tell what other shade is in there, but it is very, very metallic. And as you could see, I used a blending brush to go into the very outer portion of my lid in the demo, and it built up very easily and very quickly. It's also a very thick feeling formula, which I find to help the metallic opacity, I guess. It's very, it almost feels a little bit like a cream. It is beautiful, and it's one of my favorite shades out of this palette. Let me go over to these two here. These are the two that were most exciting to me, that I was most looking forward to, because something about them, they're like very rich, but yet they have that sparkle built into them, and I figured I really don't have much like that in my collection. I'm gonna tell you, those disappointed me. They are more, in my opinion, like toppers, and then when I use them with their matte counterpart, they end up just kind of blending in and not really looking like standout shades. So in order for them to really stand out, you kind of got to pair them with a different type of color and not their same counterpart, so that you get that truly stand out. As far as the sparkle, it's kind of weird, because if I look up close in the mirror, I can see the sparkle there, but if I'm looking from afar, so for example, if I'm in my restroom, and obviously, you know, you have the counter, and I'm standing here at my sink and I'm looking into the mirror, I can't tell that it has sparkle. And so it's one of those things where it's like, well, is it even worth it if I if I can't see the sparkle from far away? If you can't really differentiate then, and you have to get up close to kind of see, then to me it's kind of a bummer. So both of them turned out to be like that for me, which hurt my heart, because those were the two I was looking forward to the most. As far as Solstice, this is one of those pink type of shades that I feel like a ton of brands have been doing with highlighters, and I'm not a fan of that type of shade. I don't know, maybe it's just because I don't like the highlighter type thing, where it's got that, it's kind of like a champagne with a very strong pink shift, and this is one of those, except it's for the eyes. Technically, you could use it on the cheeks, but just not a fan of that, and that's just personal preference. That's not necessarily that it's a bad shade or anything, it's just personal preference that it's just not my cup of tea. Fireball, I really, really like this one. This is kind of a hybrid between a red and an orange, so I see myself really using this one for fall, and I love the shade. It is a little bit more unique than what I have in my collection. Eternal Light, one thing I really like about Kristen Dominique's palettes is that there's always a couple of shades that even when she is first revealing her palette, she'll kind of explain that you can use it for blush or you can use it for highlight. It's kind of your one-stop shop. And Eternal Light is something you can use as a highlight. I do have it on my cheeks today. Now, when using it for inner corner, it's very pretty, but I feel like it takes a lot of building up. I don't know, something about it, when I go in with my brush, I don't seem to be able to get a lot on my brush. So I don't know, that's just been my opinion, but I mean, it's pretty, but I don't think it's anything super unique, and I don't think it's the easiest thing to work with. So that's it in a nutshell, you guys. So the mattes, I mean, I don't think anybody has ever struggled with her mattes. Her mattes have always been top notch, have really been easy to use. This is no exception. The black shade, like I said, which is called Black Matter, so stunning. Probably my favorite black of all time. Again, because I can use it on my lid and it's different. It's a standout shade, nothing that I have used before. Again, a lot of the others are toppers, and they're the ones that I was really looking forward to the most, so that really hurt my heart. In all honesty, I do feel like I would have waited until Sephora got this in, because then it would have given me the option to return it if I so chose. Not to say that that's the route I would have taken, but obviously I'm disappointed by it. You know, I will also tell you, if you do pick this up, or if you have picked it up and haven't used it yet, those topper shades do take a couple of uses before they really start getting, like, for you to get pigment off of them. It's like the first couple of tries, you're getting that first layer off, and it's not as pigmented, it's not as sparkly, I guess you could say. By the third time or so that I was using this, I'm like, okay, so this is looking a little richer than what it has been, so I probably needed to get the top layer off. So I am a little disappointed. I think $44 is a decent price point, especially if you're going to love the palette, but In all honesty, what I would say is if you have not tried one of her palettes before, even if you have and you love them and you really want to get your hands on this one, it is coming to Sephora. They have said it's coming to Sephora. This one is limited edition, so I would say once it does come into Sephora, either go into your store or place your order for it so that you can, you know, get it in and just make sure that you like it. But I am a little disappointed. I had high hopes for this one just, again, because it had looked, or it is so different as far as the color scheme. Don't really have much of this at all in my collection. Just wished that it would have performed the way I was anticipating. Alright guys, I hope you found this video helpful, enjoyable, entertaining, whatever the case may be. I truly hope that it helped you make a decision on whether or not this palette is right for you. Please consider subscribing if you are new to my channel. I would love to have you as part of this YouTube family, and if you'll give this a thumbs up, that would truly, truly help me out more than I can say, and I appreciate it. I thank you in advance. Before I let you go, I quickly want to give you a verse of the day just to let you know that I love you, Jesus loves you, and if you are feeling alone, discouraged, sad, whatever the case may be, if you're going through something difficult, it is my prayer that you come to know Him as your Lord and Savior, because He truly is, no matter what you're going through, it's always easier to go through with Him. Not that it's easy to go through difficult stuff, but there's just something about knowing you can rely on Him that just is so much help. It comes from Psalm 23:1, and it says, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not be in want." Alright guys, thank you again for watching. I hope you're having a most fabulous day. I will see you in the very next video. Bye guys!